She broke my heart completely. The kind of break that doesn't make noise at first, just a quiet crack that keeps echoing long after she's gone. But here's the strange thing. She's also the reason I learned how to live again, because sometimes love doesn't stay to make you happy. Sometimes it shows up just to make you whole. People talk about heartbreak like it's some movie montage. Ice cream, sad songs, new beginnings. But the truth is quieter. It's the sound of your phone lighting up with nobody calling. It's hearing a song you used to love and feeling like someone changed the lyrics. It's that moment you realize forever had an expiration date you didn't see coming. I didn't know it then, but the woman who shattered me wasn't a mistake. She was a mirror, showing me everything I refused to face about myself. Her name was Elise. I met her on a Sunday morning in a coffee shop that smelled like cinnamon and old books. She was sitting in the corner window, sketching in a notebook, and for some completely irrational reason, I thought, I need to know her. We started talking like it had already been decided. No awkward pauses, no pretending. She had this way of making silence feel comfortable, like she trusted time more than words. She laughed easily, not loudly, softly, like it cost her something, and she was giving it anyway. By our second conversation, I wanted to frame the sound of her voice. We moved fast. Not because we planned to, but because some people interrupt your life like a sentence that forgot it needed punctuation. When love starts, it doesn't fix your life. It distracts you from what's broken long enough to pretend it's fixed. Before Elise, my days were predictable. Emails, empty dinners, sleeping in the wrong kind of silence. After Elise, the world had texture again. Mornings started smelling like her vanilla shampoo. I started writing again, running again, laughing like I didn't have chapters behind me that hurt. We talked about everything: faith, books, fears neither of us admitted to others. She told me once, I love too deeply. It always ruins me. I told her, maybe that's the only honest way to love. I meant it. But back then, I didn't understand what honesty costs. It didn't fall apart all at once. It was gradual, like paint peeling. Little things started to change. Texts unanswered for a few hours. Her laughter started sounding rehearsed. She looked at me the same, but her eyes had distance behind them. One night, while cooking dinner, I asked, "Are you happy?" She paused, then said, "I think I'm tired." Tired of what? I wanted to ask. Me? Love? Herself? But the question stayed stuck between my pride and my fear. I cleaned the dishes, she turned on the TV, and silence filled every inch of our home like fog. That's how people drift. Not by leaving, but by staying half present until absence feels normal. It happened on a Thursday. She came home early. Didn't kiss me hello. Just said, "We need to talk." I knew what that sentence meant before it ended. The kind of tone that holds finality wrapped in politeness. I didn't argue. Somewhere, deep down, I already knew. She said, "I don't think this is working." And I, trying to sound sane, replied, "Why?" She looked down, tracing invisible circles on the sofa fabric, like she was searching for an answer she already had. Finally, she said, "When I'm with you, I forget how to be me. And that scares me. It's strange how people leave you for things you once thought made them stay. I asked, "So this is it?" She nodded, tears already running silently. The kind that say, "Please don't make this harder." No shouting, no slammed doors. Just two people quietly realizing the future they rehearsed had been canceled. When she left, she didn't take her things right away. She took the air. The house didn't sound like her absence. It sounded like mine. People don't tell you that heartbreak is physically loud. It creaks in your chest. It buzzes in your empty rooms. For weeks, everything reminded me of her. The smell of roasted coffee, the song she played endlessly in the car, the notebook she forgot in my drawer. I read every page, sketches, quotes, little poetic notes she'd never let anyone see. In the last pages, she'd written something that nearly undid me. Love is just two people trying to forgive each other for not being gods. She'd known then what I was only starting to understand. That no amount of passion saves you from your human flaws. I started blaming myself. Replay after replay. All the ways I could have loved better, but the truth took longer to unravel. Sometimes people aren't meant to stay. They're meant to break the version of you that was never really living. Heartbreak has stages, but they don't come in order. First, I went numb, then angry, then nostalgic, then back to numb again. My friends said, "You'll meet someone new." Like healing was a to-do list. But new wasn't the issue. I couldn't meet anyone when I hadn't even met the parts of myself I kept hiding in her presence. Love had been my mirror. It showed me both beauty and blindness. I realized I'd been living like love was the cure for loneliness, when really it had just been the distraction from it. Loneliness doesn't vanish when someone holds you. It quiets down until their hand leaves. A month after she left, I got a small package in the mail. No return address, just her handwriting. Inside, a stack of letters bound by string. A note attached. "For when you stop hating me." I almost threw them away. But curiosity is the sibling of love. It never leaves quietly. That night, I tore them open one by one. Each letter was a piece of aftercare. She wrote about how sorry she was for breaking the promise, not to stay, but to always keep trying. She wrote that she didn't regret the time, just the ending. And in one, she wrote, "You taught me how to be seen. I hope one day you see yourself that way too." I cried, not because I missed her, but because she was right. I had spent our whole relationship seeking validation like oxygen, while pretending I already knew how to breathe. Love doesn't fail when people leave. It fails when growth stops. Elisa's leaving forced me into the most uncomfortable mirror. Myself. I started therapy. Started running again. Not from sorrow, but through it. I deleted no pictures, threw away no memories. Instead, I decided to learn from every one of them, because memories don't haunt you when you honor them. Slowly, I started collecting myself piece by piece. My hobbies, my silence, my boundaries. I realized I'd been blaming her for trying to create distance, when I was the one who built a relationship on dependency disguised as devotion. Elise hadn't just ended us. She'd handed me back my identity, the one I kept outsourcing to love. Everyone says, heartbreak teaches you patience. I don't think that's true. Heartbreak teaches you clarity. The difference between attachment and connection, between attention and intimacy, between comfort and peace. With Elise gone, I learned to sit in my own quiet without resenting it. I learned that solitude isn't loneliness. It's an invitation. And grief, if you let it, doesn't just leave holes. It plants space for gratitude, for grace, for new beginnings that don't need rescuing. One night, I took a long drive. No music, just the hum of tires, and my heartbeat finally slowing down. And somewhere between city lights and silence, I forgave her. Not out loud, just inwardly, where all forgiveness begins. 6 months later, life found irony funny again. I saw her at a bookstore downtown, holding the same brand of sketchbook she always carried. My first instinct was to leave. But she saw me before I could. She smiled, small, genuine. I was hoping you'd come here again, she said. I laughed. Of all places? I figured if the universe wanted us to talk, it'd send you here. We walked through aisles like tourists of our old selves. There was no tension, no begging for second chances. Just two people softly closing a door that had already been shut. But politely this time. Before we parted, she said, "I hope you're happy." And I realized I was. Not because of her, not anymore, but because of what her absence taught me to build. Healing isn't a single sunrise. It's a series of mornings where you realize you're still here, still breathing, still curious about what comes next. I started writing again. Not about her exactly, but about what love had taught me through her, about how heartbreak isn't an ending. It's an introduction to self-awareness. My words got more honest. Friends noticed. Even strangers did. Reading my posts and saying things like, "Your pain feels like my story too." And that's when I understood the quiet grace Elise had unknowingly left behind. She hadn't ruined me. She'd transformed me into someone capable of empathy, deeper than I'd ever known. Someone once told me, "You don't lose people, you graduate from them." At first, that sounded cruel. But love isn't about possession. It's about participation. And when your lesson with someone is complete, life gently, or not so gently, asks you to let go. Elise was both my favorite chapter and my hardest exam. She showed me that it's possible to love someone deeply and still have to walk away. She showed me that heartbreak is simply growth in disguise. And if love doesn't end in heartbreak, it teaches little. But if heartbreak doesn't end in understanding, it's wasted. Looking back now, I don't measure love by how long it lasted. I measure it by how much it changed me. Elise changed everything. She broke my certainty. She fixed my blindness. She helped me find meaning inside pain I used to curse. Love is alchemy like that. It burns you. But what's left after the fire isn't loss. It's refinement. It's the kind of peace that says, I wouldn't erase it even if I could. Because the truth is, she did break my heart. yes, but she also fixed what lived underneath. Now, when friends call me crying over someone, I don't tell them, "You'll get over it." I tell them, "You'll understand it someday." And that will matter more. Because pain doesn't destroy love, it defines it. It turns the concept into experience, the feeling into wisdom, and it makes sure the next time you love, you do it rooted in truth, not fantasy. Love without heartbreak would be like music without silence. Too crowded to ever mean anything. Sometimes I still think of her. Not romantically. More like gratitude wearing nostalgia. When I pass that old coffee shop, I smile at that version of me. The one who thought this story would be forever. He wasn't wrong. He just didn't know that forever doesn't always mean together. Sometimes it means you'll carry each other within every new thing you touch. She's married now, I heard. And when I found out, I didn't feel jealousy. I felt peace, because some hearts don't belong to stay. They belong to start you. If you've ever been broken like that, listen. You're not being punished. You're being prepared. The pain that cracks you open also becomes the room that growth fills. Elise taught me that love isn't supposed to complete you. It's supposed to reveal you. Then life does the work of refining what's revealed. Pain refines what love reveals. That's the rhythm of being human. The woman who broke my heart didn't ruin me. She introduced me to the version of myself I'd been avoiding. And if I could talk to her one last time, I'd simply say, "Thank you for loving me when I didn't know how to love. For leaving when staying would have made me smaller. And for teaching me that heartbreak, when understood, isn't tragedy. It's transformation. Because sometimes the person who breaks you is the same one who hands you the tools to rebuild."